Okay. My name is Eileen Fitzpatrick, and I am retired. I had a practice in the healing arts, which is hands-on healing and feng shui. And I heard about controlled remote viewing in a rather odd way. It was back in the 90s. There was a television program, a magazine type interview program. And to this day, I remember the man being interviewed sitting at a table with a sealed envelope and actually drawing a picture of what was in the envelope. And I was hooked. I was fascinated. Of course, in the 90s, there was no internet, so I couldn't really research it, and I was a bit younger then and all. And I, just sort of let it go, but it was always sort of in the back of my mind. And for some reason, I just was so fascinated, I never gave up on it. And then in the early 2000s or mid, like 2007, 2008, I heard an interview on the radio, which turned out to be a man named Lynn Buchanan. And he was going to be, okay, I messed up. What do I do? What do I do when I mess up? I forgot to ask that question.
That's okay. Just do exactly what you just did. Just say, I want to start over, and we'll start over.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay. I got a little ahead of myself there, and then
And remember, it's only 5 minutes, so you don't need to say a lot.
Okay.
Okay, we're rolling now.
My name is Eileen Fitzpatrick, and I am retired. I had a healing arts practice where I did hands-on healing and feng shui. And I heard back in the 90s about CRV from something on the television, and I never really forgot about it. I found the idea of it fascinating, but there was no way to research it for me at that time. So in 2007, when I heard a radio interview with a man named Lynn Buchanan, all of a sudden my interest sparked, and I was like, wow, I remember that. I wonder what that is. So I went to hear Lynn speak, and I asked him about the controlled remote viewing, and he directed me towards Lori Williams of Intuitive Specialists. At the time I was living in Ireland, so it was a few years before I came back to the United States. And when I did, one of the first things I did was call Lynn, who again gave me Lori's information and contact details. And I spoke to her, and we put a workshop together in the New York area. And I was thrilled, and I was excited, and I was also very nervous about it because I didn't really know much about it. So I started doing research and looking at different people who did things, and I found that Lori's program seemed to be the most comprehensive. And since I had actually met Lynn Buchanan, and he was the one who suggested Lori, that sort of gave me another leg up about doing the course. So the only kind of issue I had with it was finding the time and the money and getting it together and having everything work, and it did. One thing led to another. She came to New York, we had the course, and it was fascinating. One of the ways I was able to use CRV at the very beginning when I still had my practice is that when I was doing feng shui, there were times when things would come up in people's lives and we couldn't figure out exactly what was going on or how things should work and what should be done. And I could do like a mini CRV session, and I could figure out a different way of organizing things for them or making suggestions for what they might be able to do. One of the more exciting things from an energy perspective is that a little dog was lost, and a friend called in an absolute panic. It was in Phoenix, Arizona. It was 114 degrees, and the dog had been lost for 3 hours. And within 10 minutes, I was able to give them a description of the location of where the dog was. I can't tell you what an ego boost that was for me. And the dog was saved. Everything was great. It was dehydrated, but everything turned out to be just fine. So if anyone really wants to get involved with this but isn't sure about it, there are lots of books to read. There's lots of stuff online. But Lori's program walks you through step by step. And then she also offers after course trainings, which she calls a mentoring program, that you can join a group of people so you're not by yourself. I think that's one of the big things with people. I know it was with me. What am I going to do with this? How am I going to sit at home all by myself and all that? And I don't have to. I can work with my peers, and Lori has a whole program set up. So I highly recommend Lori Williams, Intuitive Specialists, Controlled Remote Viewing.
That was perfect. Are you happy with it?